रागद्वेष वियुक्तैस्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवशैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति। प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरसयोपजायते। प्रसन्नचेतसो हयाशु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते. Sri Krishna beautifully explains in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter 64 and 65th shloka about how our mind and intellect can be established in that Parabrahman. In the previous shloka which I made a video some time back, Sri Krishna says how attachment happens. From attachment, how desire happens. From desire, how the anger arises. From anger, how our intellect gets spoiled. Here he says, if you do these things, Arjuna, there is a clear opportunity that your mind will firmly get established in Almighty God. What is that? Raga dvesha viyuktaistu. Rag and dvesh. Viyu means we means to get separated. Yukta means to join. Viyu means to separate. When you join yourself with rag and dvesh, you are gone. But when you separate from rag and dvesh, even if you contemplate the objects of senses, even somebody lives a life by enjoying the pleasures and pains of their life, even by doing that, but if they are away from rag and dvesh, they will get peace of mind. Prasanna chetase, prasadam adhigacchati. They will attain the prasadam. Here prasadam means we can say the purity of the mind. The mind will become nirmalam. The mind will become, we can say in a way that mind attains the grace of Almighty God. The mind will become pure. The only thing what they have to do is to be away from rag and dvesh. What is rag? My Acharya has written a beautiful book called Patanjali Yoga Darshanam. He has commented on each and every sutra, and the sutra that comes in that Yoga Darshanam is Sukha Anushayi Ragaha, Dukha Anushayi Dveshaha. Both are almost same. Rag and dvesh are same. One is craving, other one is aversion. Extreme craving. For example, we eat a rasagulla, we eat a sweet, or we eat some dairy milk or some other chocolate, we get attachment towards it and we want it again and again and again. A college boy has a girlfriend, he wants sensual pleasure from the girlfriend and vice versa, and he wants it again and again. No control in the senses. So this is called as rag. He will develop a craving for that again and again, and by indulging our senses in the objects of the senses again and again, by contemplating the same, we will develop desire, and desire will lead to anger, and anger will lead to dissatisfaction, and then after that it will lead to spoil of our mind. So rag and dvesh. Dvesh means I like something so much, suddenly that person will hurt me, for example. We have seen many instances, I have seen many instances in my life. One person likes the other person so much, but something that the other person will tell a truth about this guy, then this guy will start suddenly hating him. He will start an aversion, he will start a hatredness towards that person. That is called as dvesh. So Sri Krishna says, neither get indulged in rag nor get indulged in dvesh. If you develop this attitude in your life, Arjuna, then there is a possibility for you to realize Almighty God. Then there is a possibility for you to make your mind steady in that Almighty God. Make your intellect firmly established ekdam in Almighty God. My Acharya has written that Atharveda says, 9th Kanda, my Acharya has written that when we control our senses by Ashtanga Yoga Tapasya, when we control our mind, and by listening Vedas, after listening the Vedas from the Acharya, and after doing tapasya, and when we take a firm sankalp to control our mind and senses from any buraya, from any bad habits or sinful habits, then what happens is that person will enter into Brahmaloka. That person will enter into the path of Parabrahman. He will start his journey towards Almighty God. Otherwise, it's not possible. The same thing here Sri Krishna says. See, Sri Krishna's knowledge is not his knowledge. His knowledge is from the Vedas. And that is why we must read the book written by my Acharya. My Acharya has quoted equivalent Veda mantras for all the shlokas, where we can understand, okay, this is not Sri Krishna's knowledge. And Sri Krishna also do not have the ahankar that this is, he never says that this is my knowledge. Maybe in Brahma Avasta he says it's my knowledge, but in reality it's due to his Vedic knowledge he is giving this kind of information to Arjuna. So what Almighty God says, by listening Vedas, can you be away from Rag and Dvesh just like that? No, impossible. You cannot control your mind. And Manu Bhagavan has beautifully written about the power of the senses. He says that even, he says quite a bitter statement, but he says that even the mind is so powerful that it is always better to stay away from, to stay in a single room with opposite sex, even if that person is his relative, close relative, like sister or mother, etc. And that is the power of the, senses. You cannot control the senses because you do not have tapasya. So Manu Bhagavan says, try to control the situation, try to control the atmosphere so that you can control your senses to start with. And later on, my Acharya says that a person is a true person if he is able to control when the situation arises. Like example, when you smoke, you take a firm sankalp that you will leave smoking. Smoking is a rag. It tempts you so much that again and again you smoke. I have many of my close colleagues in the office. They smoke at least one packet, which is like 20 or 25, whatever it is. One packet of cigarette every day. One big packet they smoke every day. And I just try to watch them. Okay, in 8 hours they come to office. They go so many times for smoking. This is called as rag. So when you take a sankalp that you will leave smoking, it's not easy. It will take time. But you might also succeed for first 2-3 months. After 3 months, what will happen? A situation will arise in such a way that you are tempted to smoke. That means your friends are there, you are in a party and everybody is smoking. They say, hey, come on, yaar, one time smoke. So my Acharya says, when the situation arises, if you control your senses, then God will help you. Otherwise, God will never help you. So Rag and Dvesh, and similarly Dvesh, when you hate somebody, there are people who even kill other people because of Dvesh. They forget at that moment and they kill them. Or they, somebody, some people, like a person, I read many stories in newspaper and YouTube, I saw many videos. Or even in movies we have seen. The guy loves that girl so much, but he has not told the love to that girl, but he will go and tell the love to that girl. The girl will say, sorry, I am your good friend. I don't have this intention of marrying you, love and all. Please leave me. I have to do my work. I have to do my studies. I have to save my family, whatever it is. This guy loves that girl so much until that day. The next day he starts hating her and then he will throw acid on the face. These are all, what we have seen in Crime Patrol, CAD, newspaper. Also in movies we have seen these things. This is called as Dvesh. And how can we control that? We can control that only by listening wisdom from Acharya. If we do not listen Vedic wisdom, how can we control our senses? And similarly, only listening is not enough. As I told in my previous video, Shravan Manan Nididhyasan. When you do not have Nididhyasan, when you do not adopt in life the Vedic preach, God will never help you. You can never come out of Rag and Dvesh. So when the situation arises, if you try to control your cravings, if you try to control your aversions, hatredness, then what happens? Immediately Almighty God will shower His blessings on you and your mind will be firmly established in Brahman. And what happens after that? Prasade sarva dukkhanam. The moment that happens, when you can declare by yourself, like, henceforth I am not smoking. I'm just giving an example of smoking. Just one example, but there are so many other rag we have in our life. We have the rag of indulging in indriya sukh again and again and again in grihastha ashrama. This is a weakness of many of the men and women. In the grihastha ashrama, they are unable to control their senses. So every type of raga and dvesha, we try to control it and win over it by listening Acharya's preach, by adopting Vedic dharma in our life. Then the knowledge says, Sri Krishna says, sarva dukkhanam hani. Every dukkha of your life will get totally smashed. And prasanna chetaso hayashu. Immediately hayashu means At that moment only your buddhi will firmly get established in Parabrahman. That means none of us, neither me who is speaking this kind of knowledge, nor any one of you who are listening to this kind of knowledge, have left attachment and aversion and raga and dvesh, etc., etc. We are slave to our senses, including myself. I just try to tell the knowledge what I read from my acharya, that's it. I am nowhere better than any one of you. Many people write to me, you are a great person, my sharanagati to you. Please don't stop making videos. You are extremely great, wonderful. We feel motivated, inspired, etc., etc. But the reality is known to myself, as I told in my previous video. 2/11 Gita. You speak like a pandit, but you are not a pandit. You are a foolish person, Arjuna. Similarly, it's a slap to me by Sri Krishna. It's a slap to every one of us by Sri Krishna, and that is the truth. Even I speak to you like this, I have my rag and dvesh and all those things in my life, and similarly you also have. But so what we have to do, we have to take a pen and paper and write in our diary, what is the shortcomings I have in my life, what are the sins I do on a daily basis, how do I overcome this sin. Some sins are due to my ego, some sins are due to my habit, some sins are due to my whatever may be the reason. So try to find out the reason behind the sin. My Acharya says, when you find the karana, then you can win over the karya. When the karan is stopped, the karya will stop. But what we do is we try to always stop the karya. Don't try to stop the effect, try to stop the cause. When you attack the cause, the effect will naturally not happen. So this is the secret behind this kind of sloka. See, we must not only listen to knowledge from Acharya, but we must have deep thinking in our life. When you are many people try to message me that I'm feeling depressed, I'm in anxiety, I'm not able to do anything. I know I have to do Vedic study. I know I have to do tapasya. I know I have to do name jap, but I am unable to do it because my mind is lost. This is a common problem email I receive from many people. Of course, I am not in a position to advise them, but of course, when I read my acharya, I try to advise them because many people do not like advices. And advice will work only if the person who is advising is eligible person. I am not considering myself as eligible people. My acharya says a very small, beautiful story. A mother comes with his son to a yogi or a rishi, not a yogi, a tapasvi, and say that my son is eating lot of sweets. He is eating lot of jaggery. Please advise him not to eat. He is eating so much of jaggery every day. You must advise him. Then the tapasvi will say, okay, I will advise your son. Please come after 1 month. Then after 1 month, the mother will go along with the son, and then the tapasvi will say to the son that, son, don't eat so much of jaggery. It is not good to eat so much of jaggery. Please leave it. It is my humble request to you, leave it. And my agya to you, leave it. Then he will say, okay, Swamiji. And then he will go away. Then mother will come and ask, this advice you could have given 1 month back. Why you asked me to wait for 1 month? Then he will say, see, 1 month back I was myself eating so much of jaggery. So if I have to advise to your son, I have to leave myself. Now I have left it completely. I don't have rag about jaggery. So I can advise it and my advice will work. So similarly, if I advise, will it work? It will not work because I myself is in rag and dvesh and all the other attachment, other things. But when we listen to the advices of Acharya, who have win over their mind, who have win over their senses, who have win over their intellect and the objects of senses, then it will work. But just listening will not work. Shravana, manana nididhyasan. We should do manana every day. Write down in a paper about what you want to achieve and try to revise it and try to ponder upon it. Why I am not achieving it? Why I am depressed? Why I am anxious? Why my mind is lost? It could be any reason. Then every reason will have a solution. And if you want to win over your mind, you must attain that solution at any cost. Otherwise, it's not possible. If you do not strive extremely hard, if you have to change the room, if you have to do something, you have to do something for that thing to work, means do that. So try to take as many actions as possible to win over that, disturbance or distraction which is stopping your mind. Then it will definitely work. So, my Acharya has written, that's why I say, if you know Hindi, you are really, you have a blessing, because, I will always say that I do not know Hindi like 15 17 years back, I do not know Hindi. I studied my Acharya book in the last 7 to 8 years. Before that, I do not know Hindi. It's difficult because once you know Hindi, you can understand my Acharya very well. But if you do not know Hindi, you cannot understand. Howsoever I can say in Tamil or other language, you cannot understand my Acharya. If you know Hindi and if you start reading my Acharya books, then you will understand who is a yogi. Somebody was asking me today, has your Acharya done miracles? Can you explain what miracles he has done? What is he speaking about miracles? Can you explain? I do not want to explain. You just read his books, you will understand automatically. And my Acharya is not in a position, or he is not interested to show his miracles to anybody, because he is a tapasvi, he is a yogi. He always lives in his Brahma Avasta. My Acharya always says, I'm not the person who wants to show my powers to you, because it's not my business. The yogi will not have any desire to show any of his powers. If something happens by his grace, it will automatically be taken care by Prakriti. But when you are eligible, miracles do happen in the life. So we must understand, instead of going behind the miracles, instead of going behind the blessings only for materialistic benefits, we must go behind tapasya. We must go behind Shravan Manan Nididhyasan. Again and again listen from my Acharya, not my Acharya, any Acharya who is a Samadhist yogi. If you know them, try to listen again and again, try to implement in your life, and try to do Nididhyasan. Every day without fail do name jap. Every day without fail do Acharya Seva. Every day without fail do worship of Almighty God. Then Prasadam Adhigacchati. Then what happens? The shloka says that Prasadam Adhigacchati. Then you will win over your rag and dvesh, and your mind will be firmly established in Almighty God. And once that happens, Sarva Dukkhanam, every problem in your life will disappear. That means the problem will still be there, but it will not impact you. Miracles will not happen in such a way that problem will disappear. Problem will be there, but you will not be impacted. Problem is over, you will be cool. Problem is there, you will be cool. That will be the miracle of your life. And that will happen immediately. The moment, my Acharya always says, the moment you leave the bad things, that moment Almighty God will come to your rescue. The moment you control your senses and exhibit that action to Almighty God, that in a situation, in an atmosphere where my senses are pulling me apart and tearing me apart, and I'm controlling my senses, that moment Almighty God will act on you. That moment He will come and save you. This is the secret of these shlokas. Thank you so much, Namaste. Om.